Hey, good morning. It's Peter again for another morning muse. Well, the thoughts that have been in my head for, well, forever. It's not saying forever, but I'd say a good decade, 2 decades, maybe decade and a half, whatever, 10, 15 years for sure. I mean, I don't know when I started to think these thoughts, but okay. My thought is that how do you wake up somebody who doesn't see that this world is controlled by by families, let's just say, but by an energetic being. Okay, how do you tell people this? How do you wake people up? Right? It has been a long time challenge for me, and I think that's part of what's going, well, not part of it, it's what's going on here. People are sleeping, and people call them sheep or sleep. The sheep are sleeping, a whole bunch of words for it, but the ones that just aren't awake to this reality, and they are caught in this paradigm of that the rulers of the planet, let's just call it government for lack of a better word, is manipulating us, right? Well, that's the minions of the energy. Now, those of you who've heard this before, that's fine, but some of you listening to this may not have heard this, and you may be some of those people who are awake or sleeping, or still partially sleeping, and want to know more, and that's wonderful. You're starting to ask questions, but there's a lot of people who are never asking questions. They're sitting there listening to verbatim to what frickin' Pierre Trudeau's telling them. It's Pierre Trudeau, Justin Trudeau. You know, all of this nonsense that has been going on in the past year, I should say forever, but with the sea germ, let's just call it that for now. Today is it's October 2nd, 2020. November 2nd, 2020, and we've all been going through this tyrannical crap, and most people don't see it. So I have a bunch of clients, I'm on my way to one, that he's been battling me. I can say battle, but we're having discussions about it, but he's my client. I can't say really firm I can't say firm things, but I don't want to demean him, and I don't mean to demean anybody, but in some way, there's a point that we have to realize that we've been dumbed down. I certainly have felt it, I think, all my life. I think I've always been awake, but that's another topic to talk about. But to tell someone that they've been lied to all their life makes them out to be looking stupid. I'm putting air quotes up here. But you know what? We've all been dumbed down. We've all been tested. Tested's not the right word. We've all been put into a false reality. And it's a contrived, deliberately planned society. I mean, it's incredible how in-depth it is. And a human mind, I don't believe, can come up with that. I think it's collective, and I think it's very much on an energetic, spiritual realm. That's where I believe with all my heart that it's a spiritual war going on here right now. We see the physical plane as it looks right now, and that physical plane is essentially driven by our sensual reality, our senses. So whatever our senses provide us as a feedback is really what gives us this reality. And for sure we have our thoughts and we have all these things collectively, but it's our interpretation of what we see. And so so getting back to my point, how do an awoken person wake someone up, right? So as I've said, I think I've been awake all my life. I mean, I remember seeing energy when I was 5. I remember at a young age saying, I'm here to bring heaven to earth. And I'm not even a religious, brought up person. That's what I felt. I felt like that's my job. How did I feel those things? I mean, like, bringing heaven to earth, what does that mean even? I didn't even know what it meant. And I still, I know what it means now to me, and what it, symbolically would even mean, somebody just to hear that if they don't even believe in all that. But the point is I've been awake and I've seen a lot of things that other people don't see. And there's some basic things like that I try to do to throw people, throw them a bone kind of thing, like say, hey, look, check this out. This is just complete nonsense, yet you believe it. So I'm just going to talk on health. I'm a health practitioner and I do a whole bunch of things, but nutritionally, we all kind of know hydrogenated oil is crappy for you, right? I mean, we do know that, but look at all the people who still buy margarine, right? There's a lot of people who don't. But even the people who do buy the margarine, or don't buy margarine anymore, still don't have full faith that saturated fat isn't the cause of heart disease. Now, if that's new to you, you don't know yet. And it's not like it's your fault. It's just because media and again, powers that be, air quotes up there, they're not my power, but they're the ones controlling data and information sharing, have dumbed you down. And whatever science comes out that argues for the truth, they don't talk about it. So when hydrogenated oil was realized, and it has been for, I'd say probably 15 years or more, that it is not the cause of heart disease. There's 30-year-old studies that prove it 100% that is not the cause of heart disease. But see, all this info I got to share to you to understand just this one point. Hydrogenated oil is like plastic, okay? It's a couple of molecules away from being plastic. It's deadly, and it's in all the food. I don't know how many years ago, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, the Canadian government said, in 2 years we're going to ban it. It's not banned, it's everywhere. It actually seems to be more prolific in their food supply. Anyways, this is one point, right? But I'm in this field, so I have researched it, and immediately when I found out it, you start to realize, yeah, this is brutal. Why would we even be eating this? So, like, now there's some basic things that are just not talked about. Why? And I know there's people who are listening are going to say, oh, it's just economic, and that's just big business taking over, and they're determining what the food supply is based on monies and all that. Hey, that's fine, but who's sticking up for the truth? Well, there's no one in government that's going to stick up for the truth. I can tell you that. Otherwise, we'd hear definitively this food product is not going to be used anymore in society. in our food supply, it's just not going to be used. But you don't hear that, okay? So you see how hard it is just to get a point across. I mean, I've been talking for just on that alone probably 3 to 5 minutes just to get that out. And I don't even know if I've convinced most of you here, but hydrogenated oil is everywhere. And if you go to, we've got a big coffee shop here, I think it's in the States now, it's called Tim Hortons. Almost every single food that they use or they have on their menu has hydrogenated oil in it. It's unbelievable. And okay, that's just one thing. You can go down to fluoride. There's the debate on that. It's not even a debate when you get into the science of it. But you've got these I'm putting air quotes up, medical professionals who've been touting it as being great in the dental association, which is totally hijacked as well. And this is not conspiracy. You just have to go do a little research outside of the mainstream voice, and you start to go, wow, this doesn't make sense. There's something off here. Fluoride is basically rat poison. You basically can kill rats with it. Why would you put that in your mouth every day when you brush your teeth, and put it in your water when you drink, and it's everywhere. So there's confirmed studies in Germany during the war, Second World War, that they used fluoride on to see on prisoners and shit. It just goes on and on. My point is there's a lot of obvious things out there, but it still doesn't wake people up. What is it going to take? What are some things? If you're listening to this and you're interested, or you have some ideas on how to wake people up, put them down in the comments there, because I think it's necessary. Look, we can go down a real philosophical, spiritual thing and say, hey, teach their own, you'll find out in own time. I kind of don't feel that way. I feel like my whole life has been based on trying to wake people up in some manner. Let me give you one more that might be quite interesting. This is one I try to use, and it makes sense, and I can get people to change their food, but I can't get them to wake up to this nonsense of them. Let's just say again, the air quotes of the powers that be that are dictating our lives is basically corn oil, or any bean oil, soybean oil, any liquid oil, right? These polyunsaturated type oils, but these basically oils that are mass produced, needing acreage, hectares of land to produce, and basically what's happening is they're taking these basically seeds, more or less, little corn and wheat or soybean or whatever. They're squeezing them with, they say, about 10,000 pounds of pressure in a machine, and squeeze oil out of it. Oil will come out of it under extreme pressure, and you'll get this oil collected. We're using all of that mass-produced oil as a means to have healthier oil. And again, I'm have the air quotes up here. Why? That's okay. So in order to have the healthy oil, again here air quotes, we need to be able to produce fields and fields of of these plants in order to squeeze them out to get a collected oil under massive amounts of pressure and machinery that has to be made. Do you think, and I'm not, look, I don't know who the creator is, and even if you're an atheist listening to this, it doesn't matter. We're here. If we're here to survive and have a life and make it good, do you think whoever created us would have said, yeah, you better figure out how to make that machine and learn that you need fields of these plants in order to squeeze them out to get oil, and then use that for eating, and you should blow it with hydrogen gas to make it look like real natural butter from an animal, right? Do you think that's common sense? It's not. It's idiotic. Yet this is what we believe. This is what a lot of people believe. So what's going on here? Hydrogenated oil, by the way, if you didn't know, is hydrogen gas blown into liquid oil. So that's what it is. It just looks like gas. It looks like butter. Actually, you have to add food coloring to most of it, and that's actually what they used to do in the early 1920s. They used to buy a hydrogenated, or a lard, you'd call it, vegetable fat, and you get a coloring pack with it, a food coloring pack, to make it look like butter. So and they only started doing that because it was the shelf life was increased, and they could increase baked goods shelf life back in the 20s. It was something invented in the late 80s in France, this hydrogenating of an oil. It's unbelievable, really, and that has been deemed as a healthier food. And again, on a chemical level, or on a chemistry level, it's a couple of molecules away from being plastic. So, and when you put a margarine on your tongue and you put it in, it's so slippery, viscous. It's like it's sticking to your tongue. Well, imagine what it's doing to your body. Anyways, it's brutal. So I just went off on a couple of things, and it's obviously taken me 10 minutes just to explain that. But trying to wake people up is a challenge. So I'm going to stop it here. I think you get my point. If you have any ideas, you like this video, please like and subscribe and all those things, please. I'm trying to get this channel going, get out this information, and send or put in the message box some ideas or anything that you've used with people to wake them up. All right, we'll talk soon. Ciao.